Welcome to His, Hers, and Ours, Hers Edition. Have you ever felt like the world could be a better place, but you're unsure where to start? You're not alone. I believe that even one person can make a difference. This podcast is about awakening and empowering ourselves to build a stronger future for our communities. I know what it's like to juggle a lot. As a single mom, I work multiple jobs to make ends meet. As a wife and mother, I went to college and got my bachelor's degree in information technology. But those challenges taught me invaluable lessons about resilience and resourcefulness. On His, Hers, and Ours, Hers edition, we'll be tackling real world issues, exploring solutions, and sharing inspiring stories, all focused on relationships, careers, parenting, and the things that matter most in our lives. Let's get started. I want to touch on missed opportunities. There are many times when I'm in the shower or driving to work or doing random things like the rare workout. And I have these genius ideas and these conversations and these topics, and I can run through them from beginning to end and eloquently express all of the points in that conversation in my head, but at no point do I take the time to try to record it or to write it down or even just make a note. So I do have a notebook and a pen in my very disheveled purse all the time or most of the time. So I could, if I'm at a light, write something down, or when I get out the shower, write something down, or when I wake up, write something down. But instead, I just be like, oh, maybe I'll remember it. And then I don't. I move on, and it's just a missed opportunity. So, how many times do we miss a chance or an opportunity just because we don't make the extra effort? And we can't blame anyone else. We can't say it's a life's fault or I was in the middle of something. It's a choice that we made to not take the 10 seconds, the 30 seconds, the minute and a half that it was going to take for us to just jot down or do whatever it is that we needed to do. Maybe we should miss less opportunities and embrace them more and see where they can grow us and lead us. Because as a people, as a society, I feel like we should come up. I just read this article that the top 10% skew the whole thing and make it so that the average person in my age group has about 22,000 already saved up for retirement. So because of that 10%, that's the number. But when they look at the median is only like 134. It's a huge discrepancy. So what if instead of them coming down to us, we go up to them? And I'm not talking about the few additional 10% that have made it rich because of the internet and the opportunities that are out there or investing in Bitcoin. I'm talking about us regular folks, the one who didn't jump on that bandwagon, who don't feel like we have that risk tolerance, and who are not fully in belief that we can achieve that. It honestly amazes me sometimes that when I was growing up, I thought $50,000 a year was so much money. Parents work so hard. And my pops was this truck driver, and he was super paid. I don't know how much he was paid because he drank it all away, and we lived a life of poverty. But I heard a lot when adults talk and all that stuff about the fact that he was actually making buku money for back in the day. And then my mom worked for the airport, which is an opportunity. Anybody who works at the airport knows that they pay you. And then she fell a couple of times. She's had multiple lawsuits. There's so much money that went through my parents' hands, but I lived such a poor life that to me, making 35 a year was an accomplishment. Making 50 was like, oh, I started at the bottom, now I'm here. And it was nothing like that because what can you really do with $50,000, especially with inflation? It's a shame. $50,000 a year for one person Maybe as a single, you can make it, but the price of rent and electricity and the cost of food, it's like they want everybody to shack up in an apartment and live quote unquote like a Mexican so that they can survive and the economy can grow. The economy, the United States, this big business that we pay taxes into, needs as many people to pay into it as possible so that it can continue to function. And it's this cycle that keeps going, and a lot of people do not fully prepare for the later years in life and end up having to work in their 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, and not voluntarily work, not like I want to go and contribute to the community, or I'm bored at home and I want to go get a job just because I don't want to sit here and have nothing to do. Honestly, I can't wait for the day when I have no responsibilities, and I want to see how long it's going to take me to get bored of not having to go to work. But I'm definitely not there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who, when they are in their older years, are also not there. So we want to prevent that for the people that's possible. Some of you are already at that age or close to that age, and you feel like it's beyond your reach. But if you start today, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. You can take a risk and end up in the red, and you could take a risk and end up in the green. We are not professionals. We are just people that are trying to do the best that we can with what we have. And what we have should be investment accounts and emergency funds and retirement accounts and a plan for the future and a goal for right now, instead of the latest iPhone and the latest fashion and the latest gaming system and the latest game. All you're doing is making other people rich. And it's not that you can't indulge in your habits and fantasies, but I believe that there's ways that you can rent games on a rotating basis. I don't know if that still exists. It was like the Netflix of games. You have to pick. You want to live for now and plan for the future, but you can't be extravagant now so that you can live comfortably in the future. You don't want to have enough money for you to take only 10 years off, and then all of a sudden you go from 65 to 75 and you have to go back to work and you live till 95, and now you just worked an additional 20 years because you did not have enough money to stretch you out. They say that people are living 30 years after retirement. Honestly, that sounds tiring. But if by some miracle I make it to my 85s and 90s, I don't want to have to work. I don't want to have to talk to a boss. I don't want to have to wake up and go punch a clock. And I don't want to be dependent on anyone but us. So we should all endeavor to build up our retirement and investments savings so that we can live comfortably in the future and come up together. And as we come up, it might stabilize things. We can open businesses, which will then employ people. We can not be extravagant and maybe drive down the price on some things. Because if we didn't all want the same thing, you know what? Prices would be way cheaper. But supply and demand, that's a whole conversation for another day. And that's a wrap for today's episode of His, Hers, and Ours, Hers Edition. Remember, every journey starts with a single step. Whether it's capturing that brilliant idea, taking control of your finances, or believing in your ability to make a difference. Every small action counts. Let's build a future where we all thrive together. I want to hear from you. Share your thoughts, experiences, and goals. What opportunities are you excited to seize? What steps are you taking to build a brighter future? Together, we can create a more powerful community of support and inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast to help us reach more listeners. Thank you for listening to His, Hers, and Ours, Hers Edition. Stay blessed and talk to you next time.